Hello there, my name is Hocus Pocus. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you aren't new here. This is going to be a Let's Build video, and today we're going to be building what you can see right behind me. This is a small beginner mushroom home. So we're going to be using one of the naturally generated mushrooms in the roofed forest biome, converting it into a small house and just seeing how much detail we can cram into this small area here. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's going to be a little bit more laid back than usual. So have fun, and of course, if you do enjoy the video and you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to consider doing so. A like down below will be much appreciated, and any feedback in terms of comments should go down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you on those. So here we go, guys. Enjoy. Okay then, guys, let's get this build underway. So the first thing that I want to do is just clear up a little bit of space around our mushroom here. So this is the one that we're going to be using, as you probably saw in the intro there. So let's actually, you know what? Let's cut this back all the way to here, just so that we've got a little bit of opening behind the mushroom itself. I think that works out well. And then we might even go ahead and just tidy up some of the dirt here, just so that we can speed up that process, because it always looks better when there's grass. So let's make sure we got that greenery surrounding our home. Okay, perfect. And now you can see the mushroom is a little bit more out in the open, a little bit more primed for building. So the next step that we're going to take is to actually begin building up the mushroom so that it can be lived in, has 4 walls, that kind of thing. So we're going to just take it all the way around like this, I believe. And don't worry, we'll add extra details. I'm just getting things started here. So we might even take out this layer and come in on the top here. I think that'll be a little bit more suitable. Okay, so this comes out, all of this comes out, all of that comes out. And we will just go ahead and bring this 3 high wall all of the way around the mushroom. The walls are complete, and now I'm just making sure that the inside of the mushroom here has the more brown, I don't know what you'd call this color, but it's brown, maybe beige texture on it, just because I thought that looked a little bit better than having the red spotty textures on the inside. So I'm just making sure that we've got everything on the inside cleaned up. There we go, that works for me. So here's our entrance, and the mushroom kind of expands around the side here and through the back, and then also on this side as well. I did a bit of tree removal to make sure it fitted in, but that's okay by me. So I think next step is to ensure that we have a door on the place. Now, what type of door should we use for this? Because red is a difficult color to blend, so maybe we'll just go with dark oak or spruce. I guess dark oak fits the theme more, but spruce is actually my all-time favorite wood type. So let's go ahead and do that. We should probably fix the flooring as well. So we'll put the door in as a placeholder. And I always like to put the door at the back of the block, because it just gives you that extra bit of depth on the front of the build. So you can see that the majority of this front block here is exposed, and it gives that little indent. So I always like to do that. And then as well as that, we're going to make some windows. So I think we'll have one here. Yeah, we'll go with one. You know what? We might try and do something like this. We might try and do a 3-wide window on either side. I've got kind of an idea of how we can make that blend in. So again, we'll just make sure that this is opened up. And okay, it looks a little strange around here, doesn't it? So I might actually just fill in with a little bit more grass to try and take that away. That's a little bit better, right? That's slightly better. Okay, perfect. And then since we're going with the spruce textures, and here comes the rain, I'm not going to turn it off, actually. I quite like the rain and experimenting in different weather types. So we'll go ahead and pull up some glass. I'm going to go with... Alright, I'm going to test out the light grey stained glass, but I'm also going to test out the panes as well. So we'll do one of each. So this side will have the glass, and then what I was thinking is that we also bring a spruce trapdoor into the mix here. Kind of do something like this on either side of the window to encase it. Okay, it's not so bad, is it? Let's maybe do something like that. I don't know. Here, we're going to experiment a little bit. We could even... And that means... Okay, no, that's fine. We could even go all the way up the sides like this. That doesn't look so bad to me. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's okay. And then on the other side, we will try it with the panes. Oh, so we actually got rid of the panes, did we? The panes are so difficult to see in this game, the light grey ones, so I always end up I always end up getting rid of them. Let's bring them back in. And then on this side, we'll try the panes. Now, are they going to link up with the trapdoor? That's kind of what I'm worried about here. If they don't, then this idea isn't going to work. Okay, they do. Perfect. So actually, this might be the way to go then, because again, the panes just give you that extra little bit of depth that the glass blocks don't. So I can hear fire somewhere. Got to be careful of that. Okay, so panes. Yes, let's try the panes on the other side. I really like that. Okay, so, oh my. Coming around the side here, we've got the panes in place. You know what? I think the panes are actually going to be the way to go. I quite like the way the indent works there. We're getting a nice reflection of the flames to the side. Let's just double check something on the other side, though, because you could see on that side I had the beige. Yep, so we've got the beige on this side as well. And I think the panes are going to be the way to go for windows. However, we will need to maybe put some on the front as well. So how about on the front we just use regular glass? And then again, we'll go with some trapdoors down the side here. And the reason why we're going to use the regular glass on the front is because the panes absolutely will not work, and I'll explain why in just a second. We're going to put another grass block in there, I think. So the panes on this side wouldn't work because if we pop one in, for example, it doesn't connect on the inside, so we're going to have to go with the glass blocks for sure. But that's not so bad, right? So if we come on the inside, you can see that we've got a little bit of view out the front. We've got a view out of both sides, and then of course here at the back we can do the same thing if we want to, but I will think about that as we progress here. And now that we have got the windows in place, I think that it is time to move on to the flooring in here. So give me just a second to think about the block types we're going to use, and I will be right back to fix that up with you. For the flooring, we're going to go with a combination of blocks because I always try to use a combination when building flat surfaces such as walls and floors, because it gives you, again, that variation. So we're going to use some spruce planks as well as some spruce trapdoors, and those two textures will also be accompanied by some stripped spruce logs. So we'll kind of just place them randomly around. It doesn't matter if they get congested in certain areas because this is such a small build, so it's likely to happen. So we've got some trapdoors that can go in. And then again, when you're using things like trapdoors, just make sure to rotate them every now and again as well so that they're not all facing the same way. That's always a good tip. And I've just had another idea. Maybe we could throw some barrels in here. Barrels, again, they work in situations like this. We can also try to maybe get some that are flat like this. I don't know if that's better or not. How does that look? Yeah, I think I like them. I think I prefer them just flat like that. So we'll try that instead. And then maybe we'll go with one there and then put that plank block in there instead. And then we've got a few different textures, but the thing about having the barrels in the floor as well is that they also work as storage. So there is a little tip for you as well. If you can ever get barrels into a build like this, then be sure to do so, because the barrels, as I say, they will act as storage for you. I'm actually going to throw that one there. Pop the trapdoor here just because having two in a row like that was irritating me for some reason. And that means we can then again go with the door on the inside like so. And things, again, are beginning to pick up. So I've had another idea, and that is to get some slabs going around the outside here. So what kind of slabs should we use? I guess one of the obvious choices is spruce, so we'll test out the spruce. But I was also thinking of maybe going with the smooth stone slabs, or perhaps some stone brick. And then let's try one more texture here. Let's go with some polished andesite. Let's try some of that as well. So what I was going to do is just have some slabs that kind of go around the top here, and I always forget we can fly in creative. Should probably make use of that, right? So they can go around the top. But do you know what? Again, this could be a case of mixing things up. So we could throw some slightly different textures around here, and that might also work out well. Okay, so we've got this mixture going on again. And what I'm trying to do here is just create a bit more of a transition from the top to the bottom. So it looks very, very blocky like this. So what I'm trying to do is just ensure that it looks a little bit more tiered by having some slabs up there. And also the gray, I think, suits the color palette that we've got going since we're using the gray glass. So let's continue with this. We might need to break out a few leaves here and there. Okay. That one there, andesite, and then we'll go with some brick, and then a smooth slab. And I think this corner here is it being... No, it's not being blocked, so we've actually managed to fill it all in. We'll leave that log there, try and keep things as natural as possible. This tree we may just eventually take out. I might actually do that off camera right now. I think we could maybe use that space for something else anyway. So I'll get rid of this guy off camera quickly. Now, with the back window in place, I've just added this in. So let's take a look on the outside. And I figured that we may as well just have this theme going all of the way around with the windows here. So I cleared up a little bit of space. There was another tree here that had to go. Got rid of it, and in went the window. So we've got windows on all 4 sides now, which is something that I always try to do with buildings like this, just so that you can have a view outside. It's always nice to see what's going on, especially when you wake up in the morning. You don't want to stumble out into the path of a creeper now, do you? So it's always good to have a bit of visibility. So next up, we're going to take a look at some of the essentials that you might want to have inside of your house here. So I'm going to go with the bed, first of all. Obviously, it's going to be red, so that it fits the theme of the outside of the mushroom, the exterior. The interior doesn't look very red at all, but the exterior certainly does, so we will make sure that we go with red here. And then a few of the essential crafting items. So we've got ourselves a crafting bench, which we're going to place down. We've got a furnace, and then in the middle we'll go with an anvil. So 3 of the key crafting blocks right here. And then of course I mentioned earlier about the barrels being used alternatively for storage as well. So you've got 3 barrels in the floor. You can add as many as needed, so your desires and storage needs are met inside of this small little house. And as well as that, there is another option. You guys could also remove the central stem here. Instead of having the stem, you could have it all open, but for some reason I quite like having the stem in the middle, just leaving it as it is, and then you know, just having it there kind of as a centerpiece in the room. I don't really know how to describe it, but I do quite like having it there. So I'm going to leave it there in my build. And also another option that you can go with is to actually replace these ones with fresh mushroom blocks. So the corners here. And what that will do is actually give back that red that we got rid of in the beginning of this build. Just, I don't know, add something a little bit different on the inside. I might keep that actually. I quite like having the red on the inside just to break up the monotony of this beige color, because after all, it is quite boring, isn't it? So to break it up a little bit is always good. And I think as well as that, we will go ahead, grab ourselves some spruce slabs. And I'm going to use the spruce slabs at the top here to kind of create a wooden ceiling. I think that looks quite cool. And then we also want to add some lighting in here, and in my opinion, lanterns are the greatest, one of the greatest additions to the game, and it will always and forever be my favored lighting resource. So we're going to go with a couple in the back there. And the reason why I moved it from here to the back is because I actually want to open this up and make a couple of changes. So we're going to have a secondary exit/entrance to the base in this gap here. So we should probably grab ourselves another door. And before we do that, also go ahead and just pop a block in there. So let's use, you know what, we'll use some more spruce planks. I think that'll fit the theme and not clog the textures up too much. So we've got another door here, and we do need to make a slight change. You can see that the brown has made its way onto the inside of this block. So we're going to replace those and keep it red, which is what we did on the front, I believe. Yes, we also need to make this one completely red as well. So let's do that. So the red will be like this. How about if we do that? Does that turn those back to red? This is already red. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that on the front as well, because I've just realized that we've made the same mistake here. So let's take this out, make those red, and do the same to these guys so that the red texture is consistent across the front and the side. And what we're going to do with this exit/entrance is create a small garden out here. So let me quickly clear the weather up. I'm going to plan out where this garden is going to go. And we'll just make it in amongst the trees here, kind of try and fence it off a little bit as well to protect ourselves from the bad guys, which, for example, is this dude right here, because I'm going to try and think about this as if you were building it in survival. So let's go ahead and plan out this garden. I will be right back. Okay, guys, so we've skipped ahead a little bit, and I went forwards with the wall and got it constructed. So I quite like this, right? We're running it between the trees to use the trees as part of the barrier. And we've used some slabs and extended heights at certain points just to make sure that the wall is safe. So from the outside, it's pretty much impenetrable, apart from if a spider was to come through here. The spider would, of course, be able to clamber over the top. But I think for 2 high mobs, it should be relatively safe, which is quite cool. So we've got this small garden area to work with. I've also got another idea about what we're going to do here, but we'll come back to that later. So let's begin with a shovel. Let's grab ourselves a diamond shovel. I'm going to also break out this block here and immediately grab some stairs. So let's take the spruce stairs, I think. Pop those down there. So that's our entrance back into our house. And then we're going to run kind of a path down towards that central area there that I talked about. And we'll also run a separate path down to the back of the garden. It's not going to be very big at all, but I think that'll look quite neat. So let's have a dual path going off like this. And then again, we will need to take a few more of these textures just to fill in the bottom part there, because I don't like to have that dirt exposed. I'm a bit picky when it comes to things like that. So let's just make sure that all of the details are catered for. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So we've got two pathways, one that splits off to the left, one that splits to the right. And again, I can see another issue that we're facing here. Let's just make sure that we've got some spruce planks in there to keep everything linear, running towards the path. So I want to firstly grab a fire, or a campfire as they should be called. We're going to place the campfire somewhere around here. Where do we go with this? It would be kind of cool to have one, right? So I think we definitely should. What we may do is go break this guy out, I think, and then replace the dirt. We might put the campfire right here in the corner, and we'll also put a hay bale underneath it. That's not how you spell hay bale. I kind of combined the words there. Okay. And we'll go with this underneath to expand the smoke. So if you guys didn't know, if you place a hay bale underneath a campfire, it actually increases the amount of smoke output from the fire. And then we'll go ahead and just break out that leaf so that the smoke can come up through the roof of the forest. And we're going to quickly take a step back and just have a look at that in the sunlight. That looks quite cool, right? So we've got the smoke coming up above the tree line, which I really like. And then we need a few other features in this garden. So I was thinking that we try to create some sort of shelter in the back here. I don't know how we're going to do it though. Let's grab some fences. I guess we kind of just go for it and see what happens. So we'll have a pillar that comes up by the fire. And then maybe some trapdoors would work for this. So we'll grab the trapdoors. They will come over the top of this pillar here. So we kind of want a sheltered fire area, you know? So let's do that, and we won't have it too linear. We'll maybe do something like that. And do we bring it? Let's kind of bring it over to the side here as well, I think. So let's kind of do something like that. For this one though, I do want the trapdoors to be all the same way, all facing the same way. I think it looks a little bit more appropriate like that. And then we'll maybe have a secondary. Now, how does that look? Is that kind of strange? I don't know. Is that strange? It also blocks the fire, which is kind of silly on my part because we were just talking about how cool that looked. Yeah, maybe we will actually go without that, go without the shelter there. I guess we could have a little bit right here, just kind of something small like this. That's okay, I guess. Some small shelter. Oh, I don't know. This is tough. I want some shelter, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about it. Maybe let's think about this off camera for a second. So I decided against the shelter and instead went with something a little bit different. So I hollowed out one side of the tree in order to make sure that A, we couldn't get in and out through the tree, but B, the mobs couldn't get in and out. So the other side of the tree is still intact, as you can see. So that's kind of cool. And inside the small cubby hole, I've put a jukebox as well as a music disc. And I went with far. Where did that go? Whoops. Where did the disc go? Okay, that's okay. We can get it back. I went with far because I really like far in this game. So we're going to put it back in. So we've got far in the music disc holder, and you can of course play that in the jukebox when you're looking to relax in the garden here. And then on the other side, I went with a small garden containing some potatoes, wheat, and carrots. And now what I want to do is basically just bone meal the rest up so that it looks kind of cool, because bone meal also always adds quite a good amount of detail to build. So we'll just make sure that we do something like that. And then you can see we've got this overgrown garden, but I think I'm actually going to limit the amount of too high grass that we've got here, because too high grass is quite intrusive. So let's try and keep it to a minimum. Like here, we don't really want it, but we're just gonna keep getting it. In fact, we can always just grab some grass from here and do what we need to do with it. So let's also bring that down. Maybe we can keep some too high there. That seems to work. in the corner there, that's fine because it's not really in the way or obstructing our view at all. Okay, perfect. So now we can, actually I want to maybe trim that down a little bit. That works. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now that we've done that, I want to make our third and final entrance into this area. So I'm going to break out a couple blocks here. And we are going to grab the shovel back, I think. Okay, so we actually want to make this into a path block. And the path is just going to kind of continue down this way and out into the plains here. Kind of. That works, right? So the path leads up into the base here. So you can come up through this way, underneath the slab, and then into the garden area. But we're also going to make sure that this is all looking fine and swell. So we'll put another block in there. And then what we want to do is find ourselves a fence gate. So let's take a spruce one just to keep with the theme. And that can go right in there. We might even use two just because I think if we use the one and we're stood here, for example, and a skeleton makes his way out to the front of the base, they might be able to shoot in. So yeah, we'll go with two just to ensure our own safety. But that's going to be another way in and out so that we can come directly into the garden if we need to. So you come up the stairs into the garden, close these off, and you should be relatively safe in here, I think. Especially with the wall heights around, I've made sure, as I say, that pretty much everything is too high to be climbed, aside from when spiders are here. But spiders are, they're easy enough to deal with, so I'll leave it as it is. And then on the inside, of course, we've got everything looking like this. So let's kind of wrap this up with one final look over everything, and then we will say our goodbyes, and that will be the end of today's video. Okay then guys, that's all for this Let's Build video. I hope you enjoyed it, something a little bit different on the channel today. So for me, it's a goodbye, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.